Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Vendetta Sports Media Daily Show. It is May 11th. I'm Jerry Walker. Alongside me is Jack Sabin. Before we hop into some exciting NBA news, MLB stuff, Jack, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite all right. Like I was saying earlier, school is coming to an end. Semester is winding down, so
Oh, yeah.
it's nice to not have to worry about that as much anymore. Just
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
get through this last week.
Feel that. You got any big plans for the summer once school's done? Or
Not really. I'm just gonna be working and then writing articles for the most part.
Oh, yeah. And the life of a journalist never
Yep,
stops.
just making sandwiches and writing articles.
Honestly, not a bad way to go about it. But we'll get into some of the sports stuff. NBA playoffs. We had two games last night, two series that were 3-1, and the teams down 3-1 won both of them. We'll start with that Knicks and Heat series. Knicks were the team down 3-1 last night. They beat the Miami Heat 112 to 103. What were your thoughts on that game?
Well, in all honesty, I wasn't too surprised when me and Julian were talking about this matchup yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think we both were kind of the mindset that we didn't think these series were going to end 4-1. And I feel like both of these teams were pretty similar in terms of their talent to where a 4-1 would have been rather shocking,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the game being in New York. I mean, you just knew that New York was going to be going crazy. It was going to
Oh,
be,
absolutely.
yeah, the Garden was just going to be one of the more hostile environments for a sports game. And yeah, I mean the Knicks came to play. I mean Jalen Brunson damn near dropped a 40 bomb, 12 of 22 shooting, and then I think the big thing for this Knicks team and the reason they won was they got some great play from R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle, who have
Mm,
been kind of touch and go, a bit iffy this
absolutely.
series.
I mean, for me as well, it's like their defense stepped up. They held Jimmy Butler to only 19 points. So anytime you can do that, that's a big advantage against the Heat, who he's kind of put the team on his back somewhat in this playoff, especially in that first round series against the Bucks. And stopping him is essential. I wonder if they're kind of laying off the gas a little bit, the Heat, knowing they are up 3-1, going back home for game two or game six if it was happening. But I give a shout out to you mentioned Jalen Brunson. Him and Quentin Grimes played 48 of 48 minutes, so that's extremely impressive for them. And they kind of, especially Brunson, put the team on their back and really willed themselves to this game five victory.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of Quentin Grimes, I think it's even more impressive too when you realize he was basically a six man player who was
Mm,
coming off the bench. Now, granted, as a six man, he would still get a good chunk of minutes. He would still get mostly starter minutes, but yeah, 48 minutes is. I mean, that's the Tom Thibodeau way. It's just
really is.
leave your starters out there until they drop dead. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned Jimmy Butler getting held only 19 points. That's like a playoff career low for him, I feel like.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's impressive in of itself. And yeah, I mean, this Miami Heat team is basically going to go as far as Jimmy Butler takes them. I mean, as far if you score 19 points, they're just not going to win games.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
No.
Bam Adebayo's not enough of a scoring weapon to lead an offense. And then aside from that, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, and Kevin Love in that starting lineup. So it's like
Who's really
nobody's.
going to step up there for
Yeah,
them?
I mean, those players they have been good. I mean, the reason they made it this far is because they have had guys step up. Gabe Vincent, Kevin Love's given good minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Lowry's been solid too for him. But yeah, I think last night Knicks just kind of hunkered it down on defense. Said we're not going to let Jimmy Butler beat us.
Yeah. And I mean, that's easier said than done. He's averaging damn near 32 points a game this postseason, including last night. So keeping him under 20 is very, very impressive. And hat off to Thibodeau, who's always been a defensive guy, and he knows how to coach against Jimmy Butler, considering he had Butler in Chicago for, 5 years and then had him in Minnesota for a year. So it'll
He
be
definitely
interesting.
knows.
He knows Butler's game a little bit, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, a lot of people know Butler's game, especially in the
Yeah.
playoffs, and he just
Yeah.
he just turns it on to a whole nother level in the postseason. I love seeing it. I wish he was still on my Sixers, but
Yeah, that would be interesting seeing him on the Sixers now. I wonder if they would have gotten James Harden still, or how that all would have worked out. But
yeah, would have been a crazy butterfly effect.
could you imagine a trio of if they had Butler and Harden and Embiid? Just that's probably the most dangerous trio in NBA by a long shot, I'd say this year.
Yeah, definitely. That team would be absolutely deadly. But yeah, overall, I wasn't too surprised. I didn't expect the Knicks to lose 4-1.
Yeah. Do you think like looking at? I mean, the two guys who played 48 minutes playing the full game. Do you think that'll take a toll come Game 6 going to Miami, or do you think they'll be like, oh, we know we can do this. Let's do it again and again.
I mean, 3-1s are so rare. It's so difficult. I mean, it seemed like every series in the first round was a 3-1, and still nobody came back.
Mm,
I would be very surprised. I think Jimmy Butler is he's gonna hunker it down in one of these next two games and just kind of will this Heat team to a victory. I
yeah.
just don't know. I just don't know if this Knicks team has the consistency scoring wise. I mean, you got, I, Jalen Brunson's gonna play great. He's gonna get his bag. He's gonna score his points. But it's just I don't know if Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett are gonna be able to consistently give you that 24 and 26 that they gave you last night. I just don't really believe in them enough.
Yeah, it's a tall order for them because they haven't really been playing all that well this postseason. I know Julius Randle was out for a bit with injuries in the early part of this series. He missed game one, so I wonder if he's still recovering from that at all. But he just hasn't looked at all like the player we've seen him in years past. So it's going to be a very, very tall order for the Knicks, in my opinion. I think the Heat will close it out in Game 6. Do you
I agree.
think you agree with that? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going back to Miami. That crowd will be ready for it, and I don't know the last time we had an 8 seed in the conference finals in either conference.
Yeah, well, and then there's a 7 seed too,
Yeah, potentially.
in the Lakers. It's been a weird postseason. Playing is definitely shaking things up.
Yeah, it's definitely been the most entertaining NBA playoffs we've had in quite a long time, in my opinion. Kind of, you never really know who's going to win. All these games are a little close. Series are exciting. We're getting some upsets. It's just a fun playoffs because, at least for me personally, I would always watch the NHL playoffs over the NBA because you kind of would know, oh, it's going to be for that 4 year stretch. It's going to be Warriors. It's going to be Cavs.
Yeah.
Why watch until the finals? It's like that, but it's exciting so far. And there's another one. We'll hop over to that Western Conference game. You hinted on the 7 seed Lakers playing the 6 seed Warriors. Lakers were up 3-1 going into the game last night, and Steph Curry and company got it done to push it to a Game 6, winning 121-106. What do you think of that series? Because that one's very much back and forth.
Yeah, I think not to sound like a broken record, but it was kind of similar to the Knicks Heat series
Mm,
where I didn't really expect the Lakers to win 4-1. This Warriors team basically it's still the same core and the same team that just made it to the championship last
yeah,
season. I mean, I don't know who at this point they're missing in relativity to that team because they got Gary Payton the second back. But yeah, and I mean, also like the Knicks, the Warriors were back at home. They were like 33-8 at home this year.
something absurd.
Just didn't really lose at home. And yeah, I mean, Chase Center was going to be bumping, was going to be going crazy in support of their guys. And
Mm,
yeah, the Warriors just kind of came out and or at least part of their big three, kind of delivered. I mean, Steph Curry playing 40 minutes, only 3 of 11 from 3-point line, but still, 27 points. Wiggin with a great game, 25 points on efficient shooting. And then I think the biggest surprise for a lot of people was Draymond Green
Getting
finishing
20.
with 7 made field goals. I don't know if I've ever seen Draymond Green have 20 points.
Yeah, especially
So I
in a
mean, yeah,
playoff game. It's an elimination game also. This isn't his game. He isn't the
no,
scorer. He's a defensive guy, and
and 5
that
of 5
kind of
from the free throw line too.
he had a great performance last night. On the other hand, though, like to me, Clay kind of disappointed. 3 for 12 from the field, 10 points.
Yeah, he
Jordan
is.
Poole's been mad slacking in this playoffs, at least in this series. Only got 11 points, 1 of 6 from three. I think both of them will need to step up in Game Six if the Warriors have any hope of getting this onto a Game Seven.
Yeah, Clay has definitely been kind of struggling this postseason.
Mm.
And I mean, in the regular season, we kind of saw it with him. He was kind of, up and down. He first came back and looked like he was struggling a little bit, and then kind of found it a little bit, and then just kind of fluctuated up and down. But yeah, right now it's just has not been great for him. And I honestly don't even can't even fully explain why. 'Cause when I watch the games, it's like he seems to still get looks that he would routinely make and normally make, and they're just not falling for him right now. And then yeah,
Mm.
I mean you mentioned Jordan Poole and how bad he's been, and yeah, I mean me and Julian yesterday were talking about would it make sense to just bench Jordan Poole at this point? Like, do you just bench him because he's just been so bad, or do you just stick him out there with all that money he's making and hope he figures it out?
Yeah, was it? I want to say it was like I assume it was Kobe. You keep shooting until if you're in a slump, just keep shooting and shooting, and eventually you'll catch heat. Maybe that's something the Warriors are trying to do is just have him keep going, and eventually he'll have one of those games that he goes off and wills and helps them in a big way to get the win, which better happen soon. Otherwise, these world defending champs will be going home. Because I mean, we've seen how bad you mentioned how good they are at home. The Warriors are awful on the road this
Yeah, on the
season,
flip side.
and now they're going to LA, go play at Cryptocurrency Arena or whatever it is. I still want to call it Staples Center, but I know it's not that anymore.
It
The
basically
crypto.com.
is.
Yeah. But it's going to be tough. Lakers crowd will be up for it. I guess who do you think wins Game Six? Like, do you think it's going to be Lakers and series will be over? Because I know was it Anthony Davis is questionable for that game.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little weird here. I'm gonna go with the Warriors in this pick. I think one of these two series goes 7 games.
Mm,
And yeah, especially with, I mean, I don't know how hurt yet Anthony Davis is. It's saying
yeah.
right now he's a game time decision, and they're saying, I'm just looking at this report, it's
Mm,
expected to be available for Friday's Game 6, barring any setback. So it sounds like he should play. That is obviously huge for this Lakers team, but I think if they do want to win, they're gonna need some, great bench play. They're gonna need some of these bench players to step up because I mean, Anthony Davis and LeBron are gonna, carry. They're gonna be the main source of your offense. And then you'll have, Russell and Reeves who will kind of spread the floor a little bit, knock down threes for you.
yeah.
But outside of that, you kind of need these guys on the bench. Your Rui Hachimura's, Schroeder is, their sixth man. He basically gets starter minutes.
Mm,
He had 14 on 6 of 11 shooting, which isn't horrible. But yeah, I
no.
mean, Lonnie Walker definitely came down to earth a little bit. Played 28 minutes, 2 of 6 shooting, 4 points. But yeah, they're definitely gonna. They just kind of need another great game from a guy like Lonnie Walker,
Yeah.
or like when Rui Hachimura was playing great in that last series against the Grizzlies. I think it was. He had a couple
Yeah.
big games. So I mean the Lakers have shown they can win without necessarily their role players stepping up in a big way. But I think we saw that last Warriors game they won, where Lonnie Walker was kind of that last
Yeah.
push they needed to win. So yeah, I think they'll need some of these depth guys to step up a little bit, take the pressure off
Yeah.
LeBron and AD.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, as good as LeBron and AD are, they can't do it all on their own. They need a little bit of help here and there, especially if I know they play 39 minutes for LeBron last night, 32 for AD. When they're off the court, they need someone else to step up, whether it is one of the starters, like you said, Reeves or Russell, or more importantly, I think that bench has to kind of get going, which easier said than done in the NBA because they're on the bench for a reason, not getting starter minutes necessarily at times. But when you have guys getting 21 minutes, 29 minutes, 28 minutes, and getting a combined what, 22 points, that's not good enough. Not good enough at all.
No, yeah, definitely. They for sure need their bench to step up, especially because like going into this series, like one of the reasons why I, you know, was confident in the Warriors was their bench just looked much better than this Lakers bench.
Mm,
The Lakers bench you had, Rui Hachimura and like Dennis Schroeder, who kind of the two main guys who weren't horrible, but the drop off from there was pretty significant. But then on this Warriors team, there's Kaminga, Kevin Looney, Dante DiVincenzo, Jordan Poole, and even Moses Moody. Like these are all guys who could get decent. Maybe not all of them, but some of these guys could get decent minutes
yeah.
on other teams, especially Kevon Looney, who
Oh,
this postseason
absolutely.
has been. I think like Matt was talking about, he's like the 30 something, like 33rd or 36th highest paid center or something like that. Yeah. DiVincenzo is a great guard off the bench. I mean, Jordan Poole doesn't normally come off the bench, but he's just been so bad that
That.
they've moved him to the bench.
Do you think there's any chance they move him back to the starting lineup for Game 6? Or I personally think they keep him on the bench, but
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they won last night. You might as well go with what worked.
absolutely.
Because I think Gary Payton gives him a little bit more or a lot more defensive versatility. And at this point, it doesn't seem like the scoring drop off is that significant. 'Cause, I mean, that's the reason you want Jordan Poole is you understand you're giving up some defense, but you're at least getting some more offense. And right now in this series, it just hasn't really been that. And he's just such a liability defensively. You
Mm,
can't really hide him anywhere. So yeah, I think we'll continue to see Gary Payton continue to start. At least I think that's what Steve Kerr should do. But what
yeah,
do I know?
no, that's why he's getting paid a ton, and we're not. But I think I agree. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They won last night. Have struggled a bit more with Jordan Poole on the court at times, and Gary Payton's obviously a better defender. Guy I'm looking to step up in Game 6 is Mr. Game 6 himself, Klay Thompson. He's got to get hot at some point, and this would be a perfect time to do it for him and help the Warriors on the road. You think he steps up and does what we've seen him do so many times in this pivotal Game 6?
Oh man, I don't think he's gonna like go off and have like
Yeah.
some crazy high 30s, low 40s point game unless he just like catches fire
Mm,
in a way that like we haven't seen him all season. It's not definitely not out of the realm of possibility, but
yeah.
I think the Lakers kind of have a system they've been using to kind of neutralize him a little bit and limit the effect he can have. So I would be very shocked if he kind of comes out and just torches the Lakers at what would what would be kind of out of nowhere in this
Mm.
series.
Yeah, I agree. It's usually when we've seen him go off in Game 6, he's been playing consistently well and then just catches fire for that one game and knocks down 7 threes or something absurd and kind of wills the team onward. And it's going to be interesting. Here's one more question on this series for you. If the Warriors do win Game 6, do you think they complete the 3-1 comeback and win Game 7 as well?
At that point, I'd probably say no. I think the Lakers would take the game 7. I think it
Okay.
would be in Golden State at that
Yeah,
point,
it would.
but I still think the Lakers would kind of have a little bit more in the tank,
Mhm.
and I still would favor them even if the Warriors win this game. I really hope they don't. I want the Warriors to lose. I'm tired of seeing them winning.
Yeah, I feel that, but I know no one. At least personally, I don't really want to see the Lakers succeeding too much either. So it's kind
I
of
mean, yeah,
it's the worst case scenario
I
or
don't really
better
like the
the
Lakers either,
worst.
and I never root for the Lakers, but at
We've
this point
seen
I'd rather them make it or
we've
win than the Warriors.
we've seen the Warriors win enough as of late. What winning it last year and then have 3 other titles, I believe, in the last 7, 8 years. They're just
Something like that.
something absurd. They're a very, very good team for a reason, and that's why you can never count them out. They know how to win these playoff games, and
They've been here before.
exactly. And They've been on the reverse end of a 3-1 series against LeBron. Maybe this is time for some comeback and some revenge for him. Maybe that's
Com-
on the mind, but
complete the
the
story,
circle. Yeah,
complete the
exactly.
arc.
That'd be a crazy story if that did happen. Come
That's all
back from three
anyone
one.
would be talking
Yeah.
about.
And do you think like just in terms of you said this one, you think if he goes game seven, the Lakers will win. If somehow the Knicks win against the Heat in game six in Miami, do you think they close it out in game seven, or do you think it's still the Heat will find a way to win that one?
No, I think the Heat. I still think the Heat will win that series, and I'm more
Yeah.
confident that they'll win the game six. I don't think
Agreed.
either one of these teams will come back from this 3-1 deficit.
Mhm.
Maybe that's just being boring and
Uh,
sticking with the chalk, but it's
Numbers
just,
don't lie.
yeah, like, but as you always say, statistics don't lie, but liars use statistics. So, like, I'd be very shocked if one of these teams, just because, like, if the Bucks would have completed their 3-1 comeback versus the Heat, I think it still would have been kind of a shock, but not as many
But it,
people would have been shocked as you normally would be, because it's like, okay, well, the Bucks, were the much better team. Like, how in the hell were they even down 3-1?
yeah.
But in both of these cases, I think you kind of have a case where both teams are like pretty similar and pretty close in skill
Yeah.
level and roster construction. It's not like the Heat or the Knicks have, some clear
Mm-mm.
distinct advantage over the other one. And same thing with the Warriors and Lakers. I mean, yeah, the Warriors and Lakers were one game apart from each other, and the Heat and Knicks were 3 games apart from each
Yeah.
other. So it's
So
like
it's
clearly all these teams are pretty similar in terms of skill level and skill set, which I
mm,
think would make it harder, to come back from 3-1, because you don't have some aspect that you're just so much better than, like the Bucks would have been against that Heat team, where it would have been like, okay, well, you were supposed to win this series, so
yeah.
I don't
And
even know how you got down 3-1.
yeah, exactly. I was gonna say I feel like the Bucks. A lot of people predicted them to win four, maybe even sweep, if not 4-1 in that series. So a 3-1 comeback there would have been impressive nonetheless, but it wouldn't have been as surprising. But anything else you want to touch on these two games we had last night before we move on to tonight's action?
No, nothing else really too much to touch on for those two games,
All right, so
unless you
we'll
got
move.
anything.
No, I don't. But we'll move on to the games tonight. Your 76ers up 3-2 taking on the Boston Celtics. And meanwhile, followed by that is my Nuggets taking on the Suns, also up 3-2. So you think we'll start with the Sixers? Do the Sixers get it done tonight? Do they close out this series?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm
Yes.
going. I'm going against everything I've taught myself to do as a 76er fan in my lifetime, and I'm throwing it all out the window, and
Believe.
I'm letting myself believe a little bit and have a little bit of hope, which can only mean one thing, and that's the Boston Celtics will win this series in 7 games. But yeah, it's been a hell of a series. I can
Has
say that.
been indeed.
I If you would have told me we were going to be up 3-2 at one point, I'd have slapped you in the face and said, "Stop lying to me," because
And with
I
two
had,
wins in Boston.
yeah, especially 2 wins in Boston too. That's when I would have been like, "Okay, dude, you're smoking crack."
Yeah.
Like, there's no way, there's no way that happens. And I mean, you just gotta talk about James Harden. I mean, obviously Joel
Oh,
Embiid's the
yeah.
MVP, and he's just been kind of doing his thing, dropping 30, high 20, high 20 points consistently. But I mean, James Harden has been,
Absurd.
yeah, he's been on a
He's
heater. The
so
Harden
good.
heater has been active during this series. I mean, we
Yeah.
saw that game one, went absolutely nuclear, and then game two and three kind of disappeared a little bit, and then had another crazy game. And then in the last game, he kind of didn't really cool off, so to say. He had 17 on only like 4 of 8 shooting, I think it was. But in that last game, I think that last game we won, at least the way Harden played, is kind of the ideal way that the Sixers want Harden to play.
Mhm.
You probably want him taking more than 8 shots. And I know as a fan, I probably want him taking more than 8 shots. But I think the thing is, in that last game, Joel Embiid was cooking, Maxey was making shots, even Tobias Harris was making shots. So it wasn't kind of like James Harden needed to, take the brunt of the scoring again, like those
Not at
days
all.
he had to in Houston. It's kind of like the Sixers team is sort of built and constructed to where he doesn't need to be, or he shouldn't be, the first and main scoring option. He At
Mm.
this point, he's kind of adopting, more of the playmaker and facilitator role, and sometimes he does that to a fault, and that was part of why he struggled in game 2 or 3. Sometimes he gets a little too wrapped up trying to make the right pass, and I'm just like, oh, just take
Just
that
shoot it.
floater, Harden.
Yeah.
Take that little floater.
Because
But
we all know he can make that just driving in the lane. And he almost seemed like he was trying to force too many passes. But 10 assists in that last game shows that it works when he's that playmaker, facilitator. He'll still get his fair share of points, but he doesn't have to be the only option. He can create plays for Embiid, Maxey, like he has.
yeah, it's just that pick and roll game between Harden and Embiid is just it's just so filthy because Harden will come off the screen and then he can either just pick it up and take that little, 8,
Mm-hmm.
10 foot runner, which he's so good at. Or, he just works it down to Embiid in a one on one and he'll just, you
Mismatch
know,
with almost everybody
yeah,
in the
he'll just
league.
cook whoever's in front of him with a, little fadeaway or pull up mid range jumper that's
Yeah.
virtually unguardable.
And I want to say, like, in terms of Embiid and his matchups, he did a superb job against Al Horford in game 5. 0 points for Horford on 0 for 7 shooting. Also, I don't know why Al Horford's only shooting 7 threes. Like, he went 0 for 7 from the field, but it were all 3-point attempts. Whatever their defense is doing in Philadelphia is working and forcing him to
And he
take
was,
bad shots.
well, the thing was, a lot of his threes weren't even bad shots. I feel
Yeah.
like of his 7, like at least 4 or 5 of them, maybe even at least 5, were like just wide open,
Yeah.
just like open, spot up. And I don't, I don't know what it was, but he just was off early and just could not find
Mm-mm.
could not find the release point. It was kind of like that for the entire Boston team, especially in the first quarter. I mean, Jaylen Brown was kind of
Oh,
solid in the first quarter, but Tatum continued his first quarter struggles, going like 1 for 7. And yeah, I mean, Boston just could not buy a bucket, especially in that first half and specifically first quarter. And it just kind of allowed Philly to go up by like that 10 to 12 point range, and then we just really didn't let it get below that for the rest of the
mm-mm.
game. We kind of just kept it at that,
I
and
mean,
even from that 13 to 20 point range, basically for the rest of the game.
yeah, it's superb defense. And you know, like Tatum ended up finishing with 36. You know he's always going to get his, but it's what everyone else does. And if you limit him to an extent or even let him get his 30, 40 a game, but hold everyone else under 20 like they did, only Jaylen Brown he had 24, but like you said, he had some bad shots in a rough first quarter. That's a Sixers key to victory, in my opinion, is just like limit everybody else. Don't let the other guys beat you. And they
Yeah,
really did a great job doing that in game 5.
yep. The only guys like Derek White, Horford, Marcus Smart, don't let them come in and get hot and be the reason we lose. And it's just been kind of weird with
Mm.
Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, because I mean we saw them the regular season and even in the postseason run last year. The two of them are so great when they're, and I kind of talked about this yesterday with Julian, but the two of them are just so good when they're working off each other
Yeah.
and running their offense off of each other. And right now, at least in this Sixers series, it doesn't seem like that's happening. It just kind of seems like
Mm-mm.
they're getting their shots like one at a time, where it's like whenever Tatum gets going, Jaylen Brown stops shooting or can't make shots. Then when Jaylen Brown will be, cooking in the first quarter or in the first half, Tatum's, struggling or not shooting as much. So it's just, for some reason, the two of them just seem to be a little off right now, and they're not seeming to be able to put it together and, kind of just run that offense like we've seen them do so much.
Because I mean, they're a good team. They're the 2 seed in the East for a reason. I personally thought they were going to win this series in 6, the Celtics. I think probably a
So
lot
did
of
I.
people did, and for me, a big part of that was going to be the bench, which hasn't done much. It's been very quiet, kind of on both ends, but I thought Boston's bench was going to get the advantage, and it hasn't. So excited for Game 6 tonight. You think the Sixers win? I'm agreeing with you in Philadelphia. I think they're going to get it done. But I would be worried if I was a Sixers fan and you don't come out and win today.
Yeah, I
Going
like.
back to the Garden for Game 7 is going to be tough.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying with Julian. It was like, there's no way we beat the Celtics 3 times
In Boston. Yeah.
in Boston. It would be have to be like some sort of record, a 2 seed losing 3 home games in a best-of-7 series. Like I don't, I just feel like that doesn't happen.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, I think the Sixers they just can't do what we do a lot and what we've done in years past in the postseason. Is just it's what so many other teams do. Just take their foot off the gas, get lackadaisical. We basically just can't do what the Celtics did to us to start this series and just kind of overlook it, get lax with it. We should realistically treat this like a game 7.
Oh,
Like the Sixers
absolutely.
should be treating this and should go out there and play like it's game 7. Leave it all on the court, which to their credit they have done the last 2 games. Guys diving on jump balls. Just from what I've seen, it just looks like this team they just really want it, and now obviously every team does, but they seem more determined than they have in years past, and it's why I have a sort of confidence I don't normally have.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think the Sixers team needs to go out there tonight and treat it like it's a win or go home game 7, because I mean that stadium is going to be. I don't even want to know how loud it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be bonkers. The
It'd be crazy.
fans
Boston
there have.
fans are already loud and crazy as it is. Throwing another Game 7, especially after the Bruins lost Game 7 at home, they're going to be ready to make sure that doesn't happen for a second time this postseason.
Yeah, and the Sixers on our end, it'll be the same thing tonight. It's going to be very loud in Philly. I mean, all these fans. We haven't seen a conference championship appearance since before I was born. I think it was that
Damn. Was it
2000
AI?
2001 season
Yep.
where we beat the Lakers in game 1 of the finals and then lost the next 4. So yeah, in my lifetime we haven't made it past the second round. So I know all these fans are.
The
We've been
city of
trusting the
Philadelphia is ready
process.
for it.
Yeah, we've been trusting the process, and we're they're itching. Hopefully, one of these 3 Philly teams can get the job done.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, you could even throw in a fourth of the MLS side. I know it's probably
Yeah, I
not
did
as
hear
big.
Philadelphia Union lost in the
Yeah,
championship as well.
yeah. So eventually, maybe all the bad luck is gonna bring out something good for Philadelphia sports this year. Because losing the Phillies, Eagles, Union, tough times in Philadelphia, but the Sixers are really looking like a legit title contender. I guess one more question for you in terms of them. If the Sixers do end up getting by Boston, winning tonight, or somehow winning a Game 7, do you think they go to the finals again over the Heat, or in one case, maybe a crazy case, the Knicks? Do you think they beat both those teams?
Yeah, Julian asked this yesterday, and I basically have the same answer in that me and my roommate, who's a diehard Celtics fan, we both
Oh, I bet that's
basically
a fun
said,
environment for
"Oh yeah,
watching
I
games.
just don't talk to him. He's like insane." But we were both saying how we thought that the winner of this series was gonna go to the finals because we felt that both the Sixers and the Celtics were better than either the Heat
Hmm.
or the Knicks. I mean, the Heat are definitely kind of scary with their grit and grime way of playing, and Jimmy Butler being Jimmy Butler. But at the end of the day, it's like I'd like to think that both the Sixers and the Celtics stack up much better than the Heat, and Jimmy Butler may be able to steal them a game or two if that's what the matchup ends up being. But I think both of those teams, Sixers, Celtics, just kind of have too much top heavy talent, too much depth. It just wouldn't be enough for I think the Heat, who we're assuming is going to win that series, for them to handle.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little too much as well. I mean, kind of looking at this whole bracket from the beginning of the playoffs, the winner of this series, if they played anyone but the Bucks, was going to be in that NBA Finals, and here we are. Sixers one game away from making the Eastern Conference Finals. I think you think it gets done tonight. I agree with you there. So we'll
At least I
see.
really hope so.
Yeah, that's anything can happen in playoffs, as we've seen, especially with how many times teams in this series have won on the road. I want to say what it's of the 5 games we've had so far, 3 have been, or not, yeah, 3 times the road team has won.
Yeah, let me see if
Because
I
I
can.
know you guys won in Boston, then the Celtics won, and then the Celtics won in Philly, and then you won again in Boston. So
Yeah, I'm pulling up the game. So game one and two were in Boston, and then yeah, they won game three in Philly, and then yeah, so yeah,
yeah,
there's been 3 road losses, which has been, I mean, it's been the complete opposite of
I was
your
gonna say the
your
Suns
guys'
Nuggets
series
series,
where only the home
absolutely.
teams have won.
Yeah, and that's the worry tonight. Is it's back in Phoenix. I'll say the Nuggets looked amazing in Game 5, especially that third quarter, dropping something like 38 points.
Yeah,
And that's been the issue all season for the Nuggets. Is it's third quarter, it's something like they just always seem to collapse. There's always a lull coming out of the locker room, and it's, oh, we'll dig ourselves into a hole and try and fight back in the fourth quarter, which didn't happen in that Game 3, thankfully. And it led to a Nuggets 16-point win, which bodes well because I don't think the Suns will be able to win in Denver in Game 7, but I don't want it to go to Game 7 because anytime you're playing Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, they can just take over a game. Doesn't
yeah.
matter what's happening.
Either one of them can just kind of get hot and single-handedly
Yeah, but
win a game. But yeah, I think yesterday, I think me and Julian both had the Suns winning this game, kind of continuing the trend of
I agree.
the home teams winning. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Nuggets also came out and won this game. It's been great series up until this point. The last couple games have been. I mean, game 5 wasn't really close, but game 3 and 4 I think
Yeah, the
were
games in
really good
Phoenix have been
games.
much closer than the games in Denver. Was,
Yeah, and I mean, I think because I was mentioning yesterday, I think the elevation's got to be playing with how good
as
you
it
guys have
should
been at
be.
home all year. I mean, the elevation's got to be playing some sort of effect.
That's something I miss from the older Nuggets teams that I grew up watching with like Melo, that era, and then even a Ty
J.R.
Law,
Smith,
and yeah, and then even
Ty
that era
Lawson.
after is the Nuggets team would just run and run and run. They were the best fast break team in the NBA and would just run teams into the ground because playing a mile above sea level after 82 regular season games in the playoffs, you feel that fatigue, and it's just that's the identity. Now with the Nuggets, with Jokic being the star, you can't quite go as fast paced, but we saw
Yeah,
in Game 4 or Game 5 the Nuggets fast break, and they were working that transition game really, really well, and it was paying off. And the Suns look to be getting a little tired in Denver, which it'll be interesting seeing how they recover. What I'm sure they'll recover perfectly fine for this game in Phoenix, and that crowd will also be very much up for it. But
yeah, and I think the other thing too is you're probably not gonna get 25 from Bruce Brown again on 7-11
yeah,
shooting
but
and 9 of 10
don't.
free throw shooting. And my only fear with this Denver team is outside of Bruce Brown. I mean, that bench just frankly is not very good. I mean, you know more
Not from
about
a
Nuggets
scoring
basketball.
aspect. I'll say the whole.
Yeah, you know this Nuggets team a lot more than me. Maybe some of these guys are, but I just look and when I see that Jeff Green is getting the second most minutes on the bench, that to me is never ideal. If Jeff Green at this point is giving you majority of your bench minutes.
Yeah, that's been the issue for the Nuggets also this season in games that they have lost is the non-Jokic minutes when he's off the court and
Oh
you
god,
have
they're so
guys like
bad.
Jeff Green and
Christian Braun.
Christian Brown's. But same thing with like Christian Brown. He did play 20 minutes in Game 5, but he's not. He only got 5 points, but that's not his game. He's there to be a difference on defense and try and lock down players. That's why it's kind of similar with Bruce Brown. He's not. I don't think anyone expected him to drop 25. He
No,
was shooting lights out, but
that
he,
efficiently too.
yeah, 7 for 11 from the field, 9 from 10 from the line, like you said. superb shooting for him, and he's more there for defensive purposes because it's, in my opinion, the Nuggets have to try and wave of the storm and get through it when Jokic is off the court because it's, in my opinion, Nuggets with Jokic, best team in the West. Nuggets without Jokic on the court, worst team in the NBA.
Yeah, wouldn't even make the play in.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah, I think you're right.
very,
It's
very
just
bad.
they gotta kind of pick and choose when they sit and just hope you don't. You're probably not gonna win
And
those minutes without Jokic, but you just don't want to lose it by too much.
that's one of the things that I'm curious about what happens tonight because obviously Chris Paul is out again. DeAndre Ayton's a game time decision. Without Ayton on the court playing, that leaves what, them to rely on Bismack Biyombo off the bench and Jock Landale as the starting center.
Yeah,
It's a little,
it's
it's not
and
great
yeah, I
for the
mean, I was
Suns, but
talking about how not great this Denver defense is, and I mean it's pretty much the same
yeah,
issue with
there's
this
no
Phoenix
defense in
team.
this.
This Phoenix bench is, I mean, you got T.J. Warren, who is solid scorer. I mean, he wasn't great in that last game, but you at least know he can go out and score.
Yeah.
And then it's Landry Shamet is kind of getting the most minutes off the bench, which
I'm just happy he didn't drop another 17,
yeah,
18 points again. I'm glad that was
and
just a
then
one off because
yeah, and then
he single handedly, in my opinion, won that game four for the Suns. Put the team on his back and just started nailing his threes.
yeah, definitely, because I mean this Phoenix team, and especially like you said, I'm not. I can see if this says anything on Ayton. He's still a game time decision, but
Yeah.
19 hours ago they said he was questionable.
So trending in the right direction for Suns fans.
Yeah, but if Ayton and Paul don't play, I
This
might have
could
to
be over
change it and
tonight.
say that I don't see them having the depth. I mean, even when they had Ayton, because I mean Paul's been out for a minute now, but even when they
Yeah.
had Ayton playing, it was just the depth of both of these teams was just not great, and it was just kind of like, all right, who's starting five is going to show up more today? I mean, who's starting five is going to carry the load and kind of get it done? And we've seen in the games where both of these teams got good bench play. Man, when Bruce Brown dropped 25 for the Nuggets, they won. That Landry Shamet game. When Landry Shamet, kind of went off, it boded well for the Phoenix Suns. So I think both of these teams are going to be kind of hoping for somebody to step up who isn't named Jokic or Kevin Durant or Devin Booker.
And for the Nuggets, the guy who I'm really looking to step up in this game tonight is Michael Porter Jr. He has not had a great series. He finished with 19 the other night, good field goal percentage, but the most he's had in this series is 21 points. Him getting 25, 30 points would be essential and needed for the Nuggets because he's been up against Durant, obviously, so it's a little tough defensive matchup. Durant's using his length extremely well, blocking a ton of shots, it feels, against the Nuggets. So I'm looking for someone like Michael Porter Jr. or Aaron Gordon, even, who had what felt like a career year in the regular season. One of those two guys need to step up because it can't all just be Jokic and to a lesser extent Jamal Murray. We need that, or Nuggets need that third, fourth guy to step up. And
Yeah,
even KCP, if he just hits 4 threes in a game, then
they'll take
I'll
that.
take that production because you what 1 for
One
6
for
from the
six, I
field,
think. Yeah,
1 for 3 from three for 7 points last time out. If he can step up, hit some shots, and he's another guy there for defensive purposes. Try and lock down Booker. Not been doing a great job of that. And Aaron Gordon's been, I will say, Aaron Gordon's been playing solid defense on Durant. Durant's just that
well,
good
yeah.
of a
I mean,
scorer.
solid
You
defense on Durant is
you
still going
can't,
to lead to him
yeah,
dropping
getting
30.
30.
So it's like
There's nothing you can do about
can't
that.
really play great defense on Kevin Durant.
Not at all. He's going to get his no matter what happens. Kind of like what we were saying about Harden and Jason Tatum. They're going to get theirs. It's kind of try
Yeah,
and limit everybody else.
definitely. And yeah, I think you're right. The Nuggets are going to need one of these kind of two bigger guys like an Aaron Gordon or a Michael Porter Jr. to step up, just because, like we've said, and I think it's the same thing for the Suns team in terms of one of their big guys having to step up, because I just don't think either one of these teams has the bench depth to consistently rely on somebody playing like
Yeah.
a Bruce Brown or Landry Shamet type game. So I think you'll
Because
need one of your stars to step up and take that load off.
Absolutely. And there's one there I will say there's one guy on the bench I would have loved to see get a few more minutes in this series just cuz he is a rookie but he can do he has some defensive skill. He's a long lanky guy in PJ Watson. Some guy the Nuggets drafted this year got in the offseason. He's like 6'9", 6'10". I feel like he would match up reasonably well against maybe Durant. He's just a long guy. Durant will obviously still drop buckets on him, but he could be a defensive energizer, which he did late in the regular season when he started getting minutes. But
Are you
even
talking
this
about Peyton Watson?
Peyton Watson, not PJ Watson. I don't know what the
Oh,
hell I'm
okay.
talking about.
PJ
What was it?
Tucker. You combine
Yeah,
them. Yeah, I was just
yeah.
looking at their roster real
I
quick.
was
I
like,
saw
wait, no,
Watson.
PJ didn't even sound right when I said it. I was, what the hell? Oh well, shake my head at myself on that. But I mean,
You're all good.
it'll be someone like that. If he gets a couple more minutes, just step up, get two stops. That's all it is. Get two stops, change the momentum swing, and see how it goes.
Yeah,
Because not a single, even in the regular season, the home team won all 4 games in this series. So
yeah,
if anyone can get it done defense away, then they'll win the series. If not, that's home court advantage for a reason.
yeah, and that's kind of what the NBA playoffs are all about. Is a guy like Peyton Watson, coming up and providing valuable minutes. I'll mention it in that Sixer game real quick, even though we already harped on it. Daniel House Jr. came in for that game against the Celtics in the most recent game. A guy
Yeah,
who you could probably count on two hands the amount of minutes he's gotten this postseason, and even in the regular season. He wasn't a mainstay, consistent guy in the rotation, and he came in that last game. Tobias Harris got into foul trouble, and he came in and played like 15 minutes. Scored 10 points on 4 of 6 shooting, had some big stops, and it was exactly what that team needed in that moment when trying to rest some of these other guys. And I think a guy like Peyton Watson can do just that, even if it's not through scoring the ball, like you said, if it's just going in and getting 2 or 3 stops down the stretch. That can be
game
the difference
changer.
maker in the playoffs. Guys can turn into heroes.
Absolutely. Just one last kind of like prediction question for you in terms of this. You think Suns win tonight? Is that correct?
No, you know what? I'm gonna switch it up.
Switch it up.
No
Okay.
Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. Even at this point, if he does play, it seems like he won't be fully at 100%. And yeah, I mean this Suns team sold their soul and then some to bring in Kevin Durant, and
Oh yeah.
it's led to them having absolutely no depth. And so unless Booker and KD have another, career game, I think the Nuggets will be able to take this game on the road.
Yeah, I'm going the other way. I think the Suns get it done tonight. I think somehow, some way, Booker and Durant will will them to a win. And then, unfortunately, you're a little optimistic in terms of the Sixers right now. It seems I'm the pessimist in terms of sports.
See, I usually am.
I have a that's
I'm
fair.
usually the most pessimistic Sixer fan.
I just have a feeling somehow, some way, Suns will win these next two because Durant, Booker will will them to win today, and then it'll be an off night for the Nuggets in Game 7, and Durant and Booker will carry them. So I have the Suns winning this series as much as it hurts. I can see a world where the Nuggets do get by, but for my own sanity, I'd rather say we don't, just because then I'd be less disappointed.
Yep, it's a good strategy. That's usually what I do, but they're giving me hope this time. So I'll probably get put in my place and learn
It's,
my lesson.
but who knows? That would be for me the perfect NBA Finals this year. Give me Sixers, give me Nuggets, give me Embiid, and give me Jokic.
Embiid versus Jokic. Yep, I'm
Everything
sure.
on the line. No more voting talks of anything because
Yep.
these are the two best big men in basketball. That'd be one hell of a series.
Yeah, just seeing the two of them go at it. They obviously be guarding each other, so
Yeah. I'd say in that turn, one in terms of what we see in the regular season advantage Embiid, but we only see Embiid once a year against the Nuggets. So
yeah, I think we played you guys twice, but Embiid only played that first one.
Embiid hasn't played in Denver since what 2018. Somehow, some way, he's always injured or having a rest day. So we never quite get to see two matchups, which is very unfortunate because they're fun to play. They're fun. They're both fun guys to watch. Fun guys for
Yeah,
the
and it seems like
crowd.
they're like two polar opposites. Like
Yeah,
Jokic is just, I play basketball. I'm good at basketball.
I
And
hate
just kind of
basketball.
does his own thing. Yeah, I mean, I think when Jokic retires, we're just never going to hear from him again. I think
No,
one of my
suddenly you'll
roommates was
see him
saying that.
suddenly racing horses or
Yeah, well,
chariot racing or
yeah,
something.
he said like one of my roommates said that he like had read an article or heard something that Jokic said that once he retires, he's gonna like go live in Serbia and like
Mhm.
an isolated shack and only have a phone so he could watch and bet on horse racing.
I mean, that's what he does in the off season. He goes back to Serbia and he trains horses. He trains race horses, so he does that. And I've seen numerous interviews with him about like he doesn't like playing basketball. He's just really good at it. He much rather cares about having his family and being with the horses and doing that sort of stuff. That's his passion. So he's going to retire and then just disappear off the face of the
Yeah,
earth.
and then
Which hopefully he retires with a ring.
yeah, and then you got Embiid on the other hand, who's just like the world's biggest troll and is just always
Always talking,
yeah,
which
always talking to
is his
somebody.
character.
Yeah, it's NBA's big and wide enough to see, where they can be multiple different personalities. I think it's good.
Absolutely.
Not everyone should be a Jokic. I mean, no one would watch the NBA if everybody was just like Nikola Jokic. It was just like, I play basketball, I leave, and talk to no one.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, it'd be annoying if every single player was like Joel
Was
Embiid.
trolling. That's the fun of sports is you have so many different characters and so many different personalities, and they all kind of work with each other. And it comes around to an extent, the marketing that the NBA does to have these guys and all of that aspect. It's been a fun NBA playoffs. A lot of big games left. Hopefully, the two of our teams close it out tonight. But I guess just one final NBA question. NBA Finals prediction. Who do you have going?
Trying to think. In the Western Conference, I do think it'll be the Nuggets.
Okay.
Because, again, I think if you guys win this Suns game, I'm not too worried about you guys losing to either the Lakers or Warriors.
Yeah, this honestly feels like a Nuggets redemption tour if that happens.
And then in the East, I mean, I've already kind of said I think the Sixers
Yeah.
will make it. I mean, I'm predicting us to beat the Celtics, and I already said I think we'll beat the. It just feels dirty picking the 76ers in the championship. I feel like I'm like cursing it.
God, if imagine like 5-6 years ago said, "Oh yeah, in a few years' time the Sixers are going to be in the NBA Finals," people would have looked at you as if you're crazy. Because
Oh, trust me, man. I know.
I bet.
It was. I got into basketball, and it was like the Sixer. It was like those Thaddeus Young, Evan Turner.
Oh god.
Nick Young was even on that team, I think.
Yeah,
People
Swaggy
forget
P.
Ish Smith. Those years were like we weren't
The guy who's on the
like
Nuggets now.
yeah, we weren't like horrible, but we were in that purgatory of being the 6th through 8th seed and always losing in the first round. And then we just fucking shipped everything off, and it was just god awful basketball.
And the process began.
Yep. Nerlens Noel, Michael Carter Williams.
Who are the other guys you guys drafted?
I
mean, obviously
Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah, Okafor was the other one.
He looked like the future for one season,
and then disappeared off the face of it.
And
Is
then,
he even still in the league?
I don't think so. He just came into the league too late. If he got drafted like 10 years earlier, he'd have been a beast.
Absolutely. But
And then like you said, there were the Ben Simmons picks, Markelle Fultz.
oh yeah, Sixers broke Markelle Fultz.
Yeah, tell me about it. Could have taken Tatum too.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
And we traded up that year too.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I forgot you traded up to go and get Fultz.
I did an article on it. I'm like, what if the Sixers drafted Jason Tatum instead?
God damn, that would have been a scary team.
Yeah.
Because you would have still been able to draft Embiid, and it all would have kind of worked.
Yeah, we already had Embiid by that point.
Oh yeah, because Embiid was what drafted? 14. 13,
I was gonna say 14, 15
14,
maybe, but he
15.
missed like the first season and a
Two,
half or
yeah,
two
because of
seasons.
injuries. And,
Yeah, with injuries.
but, so yeah, you have it. Nuggets, Sixers in the final.
Yep,
I'm
battle of the big men.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go with as much as their bench sucks. I think the Suns. I think the same thing with the Celtics Sixers series. I think the winner of that beats the winner of the other one. I think the winner of the Nuggets Suns series beats the winner of the Lakers Warriors. I'm having it Suns Sixers in the final and coin toss there. I think I'd go advantage Sixers because of that
Yeah,
slightly better bench, and if DeAndre Ayton has any issues at all, Embiid will pounce all over that.
100%. We're making all these predictions, so we can just already book it. It's gonna be
It's gonna be a
Lakers
Lakers.
Celtics.
Yeah, oh
That would
God,
be that's what the network wants. I'll tell
yeah,
you
that's what the
that.
NBA wants.
Yeah.
I would not, as a fan aspect, I would not want to see that again. But it has been what last time that happened was it was either 08 or 09 or 09 010 or 09
Yeah, I
10
forget exactly, but it's been a minute since
because they
there's
went
been a
back to back
good.
against each other. I think.
Did they? Maybe they did, because I know there was also that Heat that year with the Heat. They played the Heat with the big three, but maybe I'm thinking too late.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. It was 2008, 2009. The Celtics beat the Lakers. Then it was the year with Orlando in 09. And then 2010, it was Lakers beat the Celtics.
Okay.
So
And
it's
yeah,
one
one of
year in
those years the
between. But
Celtics won it all, I think, right? One of those 3 years.
yeah, the Celtics won 08.
Yeah.
And then the Lakers won 9 and 10, beating Orlando and then Boston. So
Okay, that makes sense
we'll
now.
see. Just give us someone who hasn't won it recently.
Yeah.
That's why I really want to see a Nuggets Sixers final. It's because
Yeah.
it's just the
Somebody's
two teams
getting.
that haven't. I know Nuggets haven't even been to the NBA finals in their history. So what Sixers haven't since 01. So
Yeah, it's been not in my lifetime.
yeah, it's been a while, but I think that will probably wrap up our NBA talk. We did quite a bit of it, nearly an hour of that. So let's move on to some baseball because we're both big baseball guys. What do you have this way? How have the Phillies been doing? We'll get into our fantasy baseball league in a little bit for Vendetta Sports, but I guess start with the Phillies
Yeah, the Phillies.
because it seemed like,
It's
at least
been
from
a.
a
Sorry, you were saying.
from an outsider point of view, it seems like it's been a disappointing start to the season after you made the World Series last year.
Yeah, definitely has not been ideal. It's certainly been, an up and down season. I mean,
That's fair.
we were struggling to start the year. Then we took 3 or 4 from your Rockies. Then we took 2 or 3 from the Mariners, 2 or 3 from the Astros, and then we proceeded to lose. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we proceeded to lose 6 straight games to the Dodgers and Red Sox, and it was just so annoying because we had like just gotten above 500, and it was like, okay, maybe this is now, what we're going to be expecting. We seemed like we were starting to kind of click. The pitching seemed to get going a little bit. The bats were heating up, and then the pitching just fell off the face of the earth. In 3 straight games, we gave up 13, 13, and 10 runs to the
Oh,
Dodgers, and it was
Jesus.
just, yeah, it seemed like right now we're in a weird spot where it's just the pitching and the hitting can't seem to mesh and click. Whenever we get a good outing from our starter, the bats aren't alive, and
Mm.
then the bullpen implodes, or we'll have a game where it's great pitching all around, bullpen stay strong, but the hitting can't get it done, and then there'll be games where the bats are alive, and then our starter gets shelled, and
You
it's
can't
kind
have
of been
that.
a yeah.
Nothing's all clicking at once for them.
And yeah, there's been, some injuries. We've been kind of dealing with the injury bug a little bit. I mean, Reese Hoskins is obviously out for the season. I mean, Alvarado's still on the 15-day IL. He should be back soon, but I don't want to see Bailey Falter pitching anymore, for the love of God. And then, yeah, Alvarado's out now for, on the 15-day IL. That he's been arguably the best relief pitcher in baseball up until this point, so that's going to be a big blow. And yeah, it's just kind of we've definitely been, we've definitely underperformed, but I'm not panicking too much.
It's a
I mean, it's
162
still
game
yeah,
season.
still early in the
This is the best
season.
thing. this is why we love baseball. It's so long, and you don't have to start out good. You don't have to start out bad.
Yeah,
It's
we started off
there's so
worse
much
last
time.
season.
Yeah,
Philly started off worse last year, and we ended up in the World Series. So definitely has not been an ideal start. Looks like once again the Braves are just going to run away with the NL East and
God,
be playing for. But
they
I
look
mean,
very very good.
yeah, the NL East has not been as good as I think a lot of people thought it was going to be going into
Yeah,
this. I
that's
mean, the
true.
Braves are doing their thing, but if you were to
Everyone
s-
else.
if you were going to say Miami would be in second at 19 and 19 at this point in the season, I think a lot of people would have thought you were crazy.
Hey, that's
Yeah,
the NL East and the AL Central are just terrible divisions this year. It seems.
yeah. I mean, the White Sox just woof. It has been
Yeah,
it has been horrible to watch. I mean, I guess they've kind of picked it up a little bit recently from
yeah.
where they were at like what 8 and 20 something.
They're 6-4 in their last 10, so they were what 7-21.
Yeah, so they've at least kind of started to pick it up. But I think one of the more probably the most surprising thing we have seen this far. They have come down to earth a little bit recently, but the Pittsburgh Pirates leading the NL Central, even at this point, even this early, I think is something that nobody on earth was predicting.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I give credit. They've started out really well in April. It was 20 wins in April for the Pirates, and then oh, did you say Pirates or did you say the Twins? I just heard
Pirates, sorry,
Pirates. Yeah, yeah, okay.
Pirates.
That's what I thought you said. Yeah, 20 wins in April, and now they're 1-9 in their last 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say they've
Their,
definitely cooled off a little bit.
their
I
only
think.
win recently was they beat the Rockies 2-0 and then promptly lost 10-1 and 4-3.
Yeah, I
To
think it's
the teams that the team that is the hottest team in baseball over the last 10, the Colorado Rockies, moved all the way up to fifth in the division still. So,
there you go.
oh yeah,
Colorado baseball, gotta love it, man.
yeah, it's
But yeah, I mean,
never an uneventful day there.
nope. But yeah, I think we all expected this Pirates team to kind of come back down to earth a little bit, but the thing is they've come back down to earth and they still find themselves first place in the NL Central. Granted, it's only by
Half
about
a
a
game,
half a
but
game with Milwaukee right on their tail, and I think over the course of the season, I'm trusting Milwaukee to take that division.
I'm
I don't
amazed
know.
St. Louis is doing as bad as they are.
You said what?
I'm amazed St. Louis is doing as bad as they
Yeah,
are.
they're
That's
kind of like the White
surprising me.
Sox in that regard, where it's just like, what is happening? You getting outplayed by Cincinnati?
Yeah,
It's been it's been definitely a weird start to the season. Some teams are in positions that not a lot of people expected, but again, like we said,
it's early.
it's early in the year. I don't think any team really needs to overreact or I mean, maybe some teams like I'm sure if you're a Cardinal fan, you're probably a bit worried. I know again it's still early, but 13 and 25 is quite the hole to put yourself in.
Yeah, they're the worst team in the NL this season, and that's surprising considering you have Arenado, Goldschmidt. And, I mean, that's the thing with Arenado this year. He's getting 233. Yikes.
Yeah, if the two of them aren't, hitting at an elite level, that offense takes a significant hit, and I think we've seen it in the pit. I mean, their pitching. Their pitching is what's been so bad.
Really? I mean, when you still have what is Wainwright still playing, or does he?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
Wainwright's still there, but he has like a ERA in the sevens.
yeah,
Flaherty's
720.
ERA is like 6,
Yep.
and then
Mhm.
Miles Michaelis's ERA is close to 6. And
Yeah.
I think you're starting to see just how frustrated these Cardinals players are because just this morning before we filmed this, I was just like on TikTok and there was a clip of a reporter talking to Jack Flaherty and asking him about his like four seam his fastball velocity being down from what it normally is, and Flaherty just like goes off on the guy. And just like I don't want anybody else asking me any more damn questions about my fastball velocity, and just absolutely goes off and into this reporter. So I think you're
Jeez.
already kind of starting to see the frustration mountain,
Yeah.
especially with this pitching unit who has just been
Oh yeah, I mean,
One of the worst in the league.
and their best starter ERA wise this year, who qualifies or whatever, is Jordan Montgomery. He's got a 4.11 ERA.
Yeah, that if that's,
If
I mean,
that's your best,
it doesn't even
good
go without
God,
saying. It's just,
brutal stuff. I'm sure. I mean, that's the thing with baseball; they could turn it around relatively quickly, and you would think, but it doesn't show any real signs of getting much better for them.
yeah, I don't know if they're gonna at the deadline try to make a couple moves because they're
Do you
getting to
think?
that
I
point
was
where
gonna
they
say, do you
either
think they'll be
gotta.
buyers or sellers at the deadline? I know it's
Yeah,
still
that's what I
early,
was
but
saying. I don't know because I mean, can they really be sellers? Like, I don't know how realistic it is to move off of these, Arenado and Goldschmidt contracts,
yeah,
and they
I
still
mean,
like they still have some younger talent out in that outfield. It's just I don't. It's just the pitching. It's what their biggest weakness was going into the season, and they just kind of didn't really address it.
they
And
just
it's
pushed it under the rug, and we're
yeah,
like,
you
oh,
can
we'll hit enough to be fine.
like and you can hit all you want, but if your best pitcher is giving up about 4.5 runs a game, it's just that's unrealistic for any offense
Yeah,
to stay at that level.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I'm assuming I'd lean toward them being buyers, but I think they're getting to the point where they're gonna have. I mean, if they don't show significant progress and soon, they're gonna have to, I think, tear it down.
Yeah, and that's very tough for the St. Louis fans to probably take, I bet, because they're just so used to being consistently one of those top teams in the NL. And they expect their expectation is winning the division and making a run in the playoffs. Anything less is a disappointment. And it's been a tough few years in terms of that aspect, but still made the playoffs, just not doing much with it.
Yeah, I mean, my Phillies knocked him out last year.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean that I didn't expect the Cardinals to be great this year, but I did not expect that. But throughout the season, has there been anything else that has kind of been a shock
I
to
mean,
you or surprised you?
we've kind of talked about how bad some of these divisions are. Can we just quickly talk on how good the AL East is? The Yankees, bottom of the division,
Oh my God, yeah,
would be
20.
winning. They would be winning
Yeah,
two other divisions right now.
they'd be
They'd be
winning
winning
the
the
AL
and the
Central.
NL Central.
They'd be like a game back in the AL West. They'd be the NL Central, and then they'd be close in the NL West.
Yeah,
It's
that's
it's
absurd.
insane. I mean, the AL East is playing like what people thought the NL East was going to be this year.
And we're also almost halfway through May, and the Rays don't have double-digit losses yet.
Yeah, insane. But I mean, to the Baltimore Orioles' credit, they're right behind them with
Yeah,
24 wins. Like
that's true. They're not.
they're not too far off. And I think another one of the more surprising teams has been Trey's very own Boston Red Sox. I
Yeah,
mean,
because I think a lot of people. I know I kind of expected them to be bad again and kind of lower in the AL East, fighting for not bottom, but they've impressed.
yeah, I didn't think they were going to be quite as bad as
They
other
have,
people thought
yeah,
they were
that's
going to
fair.
be. But I'll be honest, I didn't think they would, be this good. Competing potentially for a wild card spot up until this point. But that oh, what's that guy's name? That is it like Mats? It's not Matsuki. Let me just pull it up. That guy they just got. Where
Oh, the
is he?
Sox.
Oh yeah, Masataka Yoshida.
Oh, okay.
Yoshida has been. I mean, he started off. He seemed like he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat to start the year, but all of a sudden he is hitting the effing cover off the ball. He's up to
Really
basically a
is.
300 average, 6 home runs, 24 RBIs, and an 873 OPS. He has definitely found it as of late, and it's been helping translate into wins for this Boston team. Who I think is,
Yeah.
I mean, really that entire AL East is just.
They're just all units. All those teams are good.
I mean, all five of them could be playoff teams,
Because what is it? Are
realistically. But
we? Do we have? Is it three wild card teams still?
yes,
It
it's
is
the three
three.
teams. So obviously, not all of them could make it. I just mean
No,
like
I
in
no no
terms of
no
their
no no.
skill level.
I was curious because I couldn't remember if they expanded it once again or not. But
I think it was three because we made that third wild card spot
oh, that's right. Yeah,
last season. So yeah, I think it's just three.
yeah. And apart from that, I just have one more quick question for you. So the worst MLB record in the modern era, the New York Mets in 62, 40 wins, 120 losses. The Oakland A's right now have 8 wins and 30 losses. Could we see a new record for worst team in an MLB season?
Man, I really think we could.
I do too. The fans have given up. I think I saw somewhere that there were less than 2,500 fans at A's games now.
Dude, their AAA games get more
Yeah, I was
attendance.
gonna
A
say,
lot of most
I
of
know
these teams are
my high
AAA.
school was bigger than some of the attendance they have.
Yeah, I mean it's
It's
basically
bad.
everyone's given up. The fans are giving up. Management's giving up. I mean,
It's sad for Oakland, and
yeah, I
this
don't say
is
the players are giving up because the players aren't ever really giving up. It's just the lineups they're putting out there are,
just terrible.
and I mean it's so rough when you think about it. Because I saw somebody he like posted a comment on about the Oakland Athletics, and it was like the Oakland Athletics have had Matt Chapman, Josh Donaldson, Marcus Simeon, Matt Olson, Sean Murphy. Um, I think I'm missing some more, and I just can't. I mean, those five alone, they all had them on their team, and not a single one was extended. Not
Yeah,
like a single one was even like tried, was even like offered an extension, and it's like this team could have been a powerhouse in the American League. And you look
yeah.
at all these guys that just came and went, and they were just like, "Man, we don't want to pay you." And it's like it's not even like how it was in those Moneyball years where the Oakland A's just have like absolutely no money. Like
They have money.
they have money. Oakland's not a horrible market. Like it's not the best, but it's not what it was during those Moneyball years. It's like they have money, they just don't spend it for some reason, and it's frustrating to
I'll
watch,
say,
even not as an A's fan.
and I know it was the COVID season, but the A's won the division that year, and they finished second the 2 years prior in their division. So it's been a 3-year plummet.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just part of their plan to get out of Oakland. They were just like, let's just be so damn bad and
That
so horrible that the fans just completely give up. Because yeah, I don't know how moving to Vegas is gonna fix anything. Like if they don't spend money, they just don't spend money. Like I don't
no.
is a change in scenery just all of a sudden A's management is gonna be like, oh, you mean we were supposed to pay players? That's what we were supposed to do?
Huh. So that's how you build a winning team.
Yeah, like they're gonna have some grand realization when they're in L or in Vegas that they actually can re-sign and extend players. I don't know, but I definitely do think we could see a new record of most
Yeah,
losses.
which would be honestly, it'd be pretty impressive if that happened, but it'd be very, very sad from a A's standpoint, and not the
Yeah,
way we really want to go out.
I think A's
They've
fans have
given
already
up,
given up.
so they just pretty much get out of there. And sucks for Oakland. First they lose the Raiders, then the Warriors, now the A's. Bummer. Just don't want to
Yeah,
spend the money on new stadiums.
there's been a far fall from grace for the
Yes, it
Oakland
has been.
Athletics
But
because
I
they always
think,
just seemed like they were one of those teams that just always overperformed.
yeah,
Kind of like they were kind of like the Rays, where it was just like you would always look at their roster and be
but like,
like,
how are you doing
yeah,
good?
how are you 10 games above 500? Like your best player is somebody who probably wouldn't be starting on majority of other teams.
Yeah,
They just always seem to kind of get the most out of players, but now it's just like they seem to have just given up on that. They're just like, and whatever, just
yeah,
let's throw whoever out there.
absolutely.
And yeah, I don't
But
even know what their farm system looks like, but
probably not good. Probably better than their MLB team at the moment, but still not. That's not saying much. But we'll kind of, unless you have anything else on MLB, we'll hop into some of this. Just quick look at our fantasy teams, give our updates if you want to do that.
yeah, we can see that real quick.
Cool,
Give
because
some
we're kind of
updates.
running out of time. As I
Yep.
don't know if many of you listeners know, we've been doing a Vendetta Sports Media Fantasy Baseball League, and I'll say Jack's team is doing pretty well at the moment, 4-1. So, what are your thoughts on your team at the moment, Jack?
I like where my team's at. You know, unfortunately, took my first loss. 2 weeks ago to Dom. I lost by like literally. It came down to the last day.
Oh wow.
I was up by like 20 points going into the last day, and then
Dang.
his team just kind of went off in the end. And then I had another same thing with my matchup last week versus Herrick versus James. Kind of came down to the last day, but this time my team was the one that went off.
Mm.
But yeah, I think I like kind of how I built my team. The injury bug has kind of been starting to hit me. Luis Garcia, just as he was getting hot too, he was horrible to start the year. Started off 0-2 with like a 7 ERA,
Oh geez.
and then his next two starts, he like didn't give up a run over the next two starts, and looked like he was gonna perform like the player I drafted him to be.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it! Well, I'm just looking at it now. Kota Senga's absolutely selling for me.
Oh
In my
no.
game right now. He's at a whopping 1 point, went 5 innings, gave up 5 runs. So that's fun. But yeah, I think pitching probably is still my weakness, especially now that Luis Garcia went down.
Mm.
But I just wanted to give myself a little bit of props. I think a lot of people thought I was a little crazy when I drafted Ronald Acuna with the second overall pick. I think that was a
It's
bit of
not
a
looking too crazy
I think
now.
it was a bit of a surprise to some people, especially with how far down ESPN had him as like the 40th ranked something player. So I had to scroll way down to get him. But yeah, he's been playing pretty much like I expected him to. Maybe I wasn't expecting him to be hitting 350 like he is, but I mean I was expecting him to be playing at an MVP level, and
Yeah.
he has been far and away the best outfielder
Oh, absolutely.
fantasy wise. And that's kind of still been the strength of my team, my outfield of Acuna, Trout, and Robert. Robert's kind of getting hot again after he went like 1 for 19 or something like that
Mm.
when the White Sox team was just absolutely terrible. But yeah, I'm looking to steal a game here from Trey. Not looking great right now. Currently down by 40, but still some days left. Still some
Oh,
days
plenty
left.
of time left. That's yeah. Trey beat the brakes off of me last week, but
And then yeah,
happens.
I think my playoff percentage right now is 57.
Oh god, I know mine's not good. That's the unfortunate aspect of fantasy. I wasn't able to draft, so I got an auto drafted team, and I think the auto draft took like pitchers in the first
It
three
took
rounds.
only pitchers for you.
So we're fighting. Team Walker is 2-3, not doing too hot, but we're still in it. Gotta find some
Yeah, you
players
got
to
some
pick
insane
up, but
pitching.
yeah, Burns, Gosman, Yu Darvish, even
Well, Zach Gallen's probably been your best
Zach Gallen.
pitcher.
True.
He's the
What,
number
what's
one
number
ranked
one?
pitcher
There
right
we
now.
go.
And yeah, Brandon Woodruff is
Wait, you're telling me a Diamondbacks pitcher is the best pitcher in fantasy this year?
dude. Zach Gallen, he had like a 20.
He's
He had
been
like
balling.
yeah, he had like
Yeah.
it was like 20. I think it was like 20 innings or something like that. Scoreless, straight
Jeez.
innings.
Oh yeah. Well, so just need to fix the batting aspect because right now it's all up to Randy Arozarena and Kyle Tucker and a whole load of other scrubs.
Yeah, well, I do need pitching, so who knows? Maybe
Hey,
we'll work out a deal in the
we
near
could talk.
future. Maybe we'll work out a deal in the near future.
Yeah, that's a fun fantasy baseball. Always a good time.
Yeah,
It's
it's my first time ever doing it. I've never
oh
played
okay.
fantasy baseball before, so it's been fun, kind
I
of
say
learning.
it's a commitment because it's day in day out. You have
Yeah,
to
but
be checking.
it's honestly not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Usually, when I wake up, I just quickly
Yeah.
check my lineup, pick up a player if I need to, and
Because
just kind of do that.
do we have unlimited pickups in this league?
I think for position players, I think yeah, you
But
could.
not for
But for
pitchers.
pitchers, you get I think it's 12. You get 12 starting pitcher slots.
A week. Okay.
Yeah, and then once you use those, you don't get any more pitching
Okay.
performances. Because yeah, that screwed Trey over in the first week. He didn't know, so he like
Oh,
blew through all 12 of his
in the
pitchings
first like.
like in the first like 3 or 4 days.
Oh, that's actually good to know. I didn't know
And
that.
then I don't know if you also know, but
It's time to turn around this team.
yeah, when picking like players up, if you pick them up after the first game starts, the move won't
What'll be for
go through
tomorrow?
until tomorrow. So if you
Yeah.
want to like pick someone, you have to pick them up like before the first game starts.
Yeah, I've been doing a fantasy baseball for a little bit, and it's confusing stuff at times. I'm stuck in another league that we have contracts and a whole load of other nonsense. It's just
Oh yeah,
very confusing.
I'm in a fantasy football dynasty
Oh,
league
okay,
where
yeah. So same idea.
there's a salary cap, and the
Yeah.
commissioner like went in and like ranks how much each player's worth, and
Oh, geez, that's
there's independent defensive players. I was out there drafting linebackers, cornerbacks, defensive tackles, defensive ends.
gee. Okay, that's a lot. But
Yeah, my roster is weird. It it was just one of my other roommates, who's a big fantasy guy, just convinced me to do it.
goes to it.
He
Yeah,
was like, "Hey man, you want to join this league?" I was like,
might
"Sure,
as
why
well.
not?"
We'll try something. That's the exact same thing that happened with me and my roommate did it in the past. It's like, yeah, we're starting a new one. You want to join? I'm like, okay, why not? Something fun to do.
Definitely, but yeah, it's been exciting for me at least. I've enjoyed I think it's gotten me to watch a little bit more baseball too throughout the year.
And follow teams that aren't just your own. Like, that's what
Yeah.
I like about it. Is like, because I mean, majority of my MLB knowledge came from playing video games when I was middle
Oh yeah,
school, and it
younger.
was
Yep.
like so the 08, 09, those kind of games. I remember a lot of players from there, but I'm trying to get back into it more because I'll follow the Rockies, but it wouldn't be a lot of other players. I'll know big names, but not other guys, and it's just fun to learn. It just helps us expand our knowledge of the sport, and that's the perks of fantasy.
Definitely, it was the same thing with fantasy football with me. It was they got me to watch other teams, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm hoping I can keep my success up. Hopefully, my team gets a little healthier. I'm
Still
slated right now to make the playoffs, but
okay.
still a lot of baseball left.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, you're not too far out of it either.
No,
You're
two and
two
three.
and
It's
three.
it's right, we're right there.
You could be Garrett, be 0-5. So
Oh no,
yeah,
tough scenes for him. Only four teams make the playoffs, so it's going to be a bloodbath for those four spots.
yeah. Those four. I got a feeling it's not going to be a whole lot differentiating those four teams.
No, probably not. But Jack, is there anything else you want to quickly touch on before we head out?
No, I think we've covered most anything. We're at about an hour and a half, so
Yeah,
I think
so
that's good a place as any.
works for me. Thank you guys for watching. As always, there will be another episode of The Daily Show tomorrow on May 12th. Definitely tune back in on the YouTube page or Twitch to check that out. And from Jerry and Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.